Welcome, everyone. This is the Workstream webinar Wednesday, and today we're joined by Nick and Zach from Jimmy John's, two brothers who started the business only 2 years ago and now have 10 locations in Indiana. So welcome, guys. I'd love to just start off by learning a little bit about your journey and, like how you got into Jimmy John's.
Sure. I'm Nick, and I started working at Jimmy John's when I was 17 while in high school. Pretty much just a part-time job. My friends all worked there. It seemed like a cool place to work. And over the years, as I started needing to have more responsibility, I decided to try to move up. So learn as much as possible, and over time fell in love with the brand, the job, the work, all the people, the customers. And honestly, it was just, I felt so at home and loved everything so much about work that just kept moving up and up. And Zach, who's 4 or 5 years younger than me, also worked at Jimmy John's, and the two of us, I think, decided this would be a really fun thing to do for the rest of our lives together.
Zach, you're laughing. Was that always your plan, or did you get pulled in by the big brother?
No, that was the plan. That was the first place I worked to when I was 17. He was actually the GM of the store that we grew up in. And he hired me when I was still in high school. And then I went on to college. I got a business degree, and yeah, we knew basically like when I started going to school that when I graduated, we were going to try and purchase our own store. Since like our high school years, we were thinking about that.
Yeah.
So take me through the process of acquiring 9 stores. So what does that look like when you're starting out? How did you choose the location, and were there people that helped you along the way?
We definitely wanted to have one store. 9 stores or 10 stores was definitely like the lifetime goal, not the how we're going to start out. But yeah, after looking at some locations and realizing that there was a store that we really wanted to buy in Colorado, but it just wasn't going to be feasible for Zach and I to both pay ourselves and pay off like a bank loan. We came back to the person that we worked for and who's still a partner, and he saw that there was 9 stores for sale in South Bend, Indiana, far away from beautiful Colorado, and decided, if this is something that you guys feel like you could do, he would be nice enough to give us the opportunity. So yeah, he definitely helped us out. And that's kind of, I'd say, how we got out here. We didn't even know about it until
Nick called me when I was coming home from work one day, and we had already gone through the idea of Colorado and knew it wasn't feasible. And he's like, yeah, there's these stores in South Bend, Indiana. And I said, well, where's South Bend?
I didn't know where it was either.
Like where it was, but when an opportunity like that comes up, we felt like we had to definitely take advantage of it. And I don't think we could be happier anywhere else.
Yeah, we definitely got lucky. This is a
Nice.
place.
And then when you opened up a new location from scratch, since I believe that was your 10th location, what is the process for opening up a new location versus purchasing?
A lot of stress. I'd say during the purchase of these stores, our partner, Jeff, did almost all of it. I mean, he owns so many stores in Chicago and he's been through it. We were a lot more hands off on that. He was helping us out, but didn't expect us to take the lead on anything. But when you open a store, there's so much construction and deadlines and checklists that I didn't even know existed that we had to sign off on, and everything needs to be perfect. And I definitely was not ready for that. So it was a stressful situation, but at the end of the day, once you open the doors and you sell a sandwich, it's one of the best feelings in the world that all your hard work and you created something that wasn't there before is now there, and people are coming there and actually want to buy food from you. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah. It's also really cool to see like the development of the construction. You buy, this is like our smallest location by far. So it literally looks like, a blank space, and you see it week to week, month to month turn into, what you're envisioning as your next Jimmy John's location. And this one was super special for us because it was the first one that was like, felt like our own. Like we built it from the ground up pretty much. Like the place was there, but everything JJ was all us. So that was really cool to see. And then when it's a finished product and you're in there the night before, like scrubbing it clean, so that you can serve sandwiches the next day, it just makes it all worth it. It was so cool.
That's amazing. And, with construction, people always expect they're going to go over, over budget, over time. What was that for you like, in terms of when did you plan to open versus when were you actually able to open?
I don't really know if we had like a firm date of when we were going to open until like the last closing months. And I feel like we ended up opening on time, like when we wanted to open, which was July 22nd, 2019. So it definitely felt fishy for a second. I was looking at how much was left to do and like 2 weeks out and I'm like, oh my God, like there's no way that we're going to do this. But you kind of just like, I did a lot more stuff than I expected to do. Like I was drilling holes in the walls and the whole time thinking like, oh, I really hope I don't mess this up. Like this would be bad. But yeah, it was kind of scary, but thankfully we opened pretty much when we wanted to. So that was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, jumping to sort of like what's going on right now in the world, just like when you opened that new location, you've had a lot of just hiring shifts of, having to scale from like being closed for a while to, hiring a lot of people. What are you guys, doing right now to make sure like you can hire a lot more people and what has shifted for you guys over the past few months?
Well, I can talk on when we opened up this most recent location, I had never gone from like no staff to a full staff. And also you just don't know how many people you're going to need because when you open up, you could be super slow and you overhired, or you could think you're going to be okay and then you don't have enough. So it was really interesting to kind of be making a schedule and having no clue like how many people you need. So we ended up hiring around 20 people for that location, and we started hiring about a month in advance, and going from 0 to 20 in 1 month, and then thankfully we had other stores because we could hire these people and then start them in other stores until that store opened, which was very nice. I don't really know how we could have done it if like, hey, it's your first day, we're open, and here's how to make a sandwich. That would have been probably tough. But yeah, kind of with COVID, a little bit of the same thing. We kind of had a hiring freeze for a while. People had hours cut. There was not a lot of money coming in, and coming out of it, we were so busy that picking it back up, we honestly we've done everything that I could possibly think of to hire people, whether it's, posting on Facebook, texting your friends and family, anybody in the area, hey, do you need a job? We put hiring signs inside of all the stores. We posted job ads and took out, promoted applications to try to get things going. I don't know, is there anything I'm missing?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, also something that was, cool to see is Nick and I have our day-to-day stuff that we do, and the hiring usually falls on the store manager, but we are like doing everything we can. I mean, Nick and I are sitting down with people, interviewing them, we're scheduling 5, 6, 7 interviews a day. Just trying to meet with as many people we can, phone screen as many people as we can. And pretty much for a couple of weeks there, everything was put on halt, and the hiring and interviewing and all that stuff was like our main focus. And we're in a lot better spot than we were 3 weeks ago, even a month ago. But yeah, coming out of that stage from COVID, when we saw such a decline in sales, it was like 0 to 100 so quickly. And we weren't giving out the service we wanted to. We weren't, we didn't have as many people on staff that we wanted to, but we're finally, I'd say, back to a decent spot, a spot where we would like to be, and we'll go forward from here.
Yeah. And, obviously you are using Workstream now for hiring. How many days did it typically take to fill a role before Workstream versus, now with Workstream?
Well, I will say that this is the first time that we've ever had to hire like right now. So before, it may have taken 2 to 3 days to hire someone. But that may have been because there wasn't as much of a sense of urgency to hire someone. But either way, there was, physical paperwork involved, multiple visits. Someone would come in and then they'd leave, and then you'd have to reach out to them again and have them come back to the store. And there's just so much more, coming and going, where right now, like if we got an application at this very second, we could call the person, screen them over the phone, meet with them, hopefully this day, if not tomorrow. And then if we like them, literally they could be hired 30 minutes later. So that's so great is, there's no paper involved, which I love. And they can do everything either from their phone or laptop. So it kind of takes out coming and going and all that stuff.
Something that Workstream does for us that is super helpful is with the text to apply application. We send them a link, they text to apply, and before we even did anything, we set up our schedules, and all the store managers set up their schedules so that as soon as someone applies, they're choosing from our availability, when they want to come into the store and meet with us. Sometimes we don't even have to call them because they can see our availability online, and they are already scheduling an interview maybe before we even spoke on the phone. So that's something that Workstream is super helpful with. And that was kind of a game changer as far as contacting the employee and getting something set up to meet in person.
Yeah. How would you say the applicants feel about just the overall application experience?
It's much more fitting for like who we're trying to hire, people out of college, people in college, these students. A lot of these people nowadays are on their phones, and it's very like frictionless as far as the application goes. Like I said, they can text to apply, they can fill out the application on their phone, they can do basically everything. All of the onboarding on their phone, and they don't have to log into a desktop or anything like that.
Yeah. I definitely think it's like the future.
Yeah.
Where I should say the present, but some people might not be kind of there yet. But I definitely think there's probably applicants before that, it may have been easier to onboard somewhere else. So we may have lost them, and kind of having that leg up where you could interview someone day of and hire them same day and leave no room for them to go somewhere else or find another job. They're, unemployed, they're employed with us and they're done looking, and it kind of, I think gets us more people in the long run too.
That's awesome. So we had a question come in. They were curious about screening quizzes and questions in the Workstream platform. Do you use any of those?
Yeah, so kind of like the availability you set up prior, as soon as we hired Workstream, we sat down with someone and we basically went through all of that stuff and all of the questions that they would be asked when they did the text to apply. So they would hit the link and it would immediately ask them, our requirements for a team member or our requirements for a delivery driver. That way, if they didn't meet something that was a deal breaker for us, their name wouldn't even come up on our dashboard. And they would just be put in a section to where we would know, like, for some reason, they're just not going to work out with us, and we don't have to spend our time getting down to that and then like wasting our time and figuring.
You bring someone in for an interview, you take time away from customers, from training, from actually making sandwiches, and then this person doesn't work out, and it's basically 30 or 40 minutes that you'll never get back. And with this, like, our delivery drivers need to have 2 years of driving experience. If they click no, we don't even, they don't make it to us. So it saves us that time.
Yep.
Yeah, that's seems like it'd be a huge time savings. And another question that came in, is there any aspects of hiring that have become more difficult right now as a result of the pandemic?
Probably just quantity. I mean, there's so many jobs, especially with the hourly wage employees that we're most likely hiring. There's just a lot out there, and we have to do everything we can to have that edge, just because there's so many people to choose from.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were in the very similar situation as us. No one was hiring for a while, and now I wouldn't say things are even close back to normal, but as we kind of move forward and people are now looking to staff up again, people can kind of pick and choose where they want to work right now. Yeah. And it's just a little bit tougher for us to actually secure applicants than it has been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you seeing a surge in people ghosting, or have you been using sort of the reminders or anything else to reduce that?
I mean, people have been ghosting since ghosting became a thing. It stinks, but I'd say it's probably on par. I think that's kind of where Workstream though comes in, takes an advantage, is things can happen so quickly that we sometimes prevent the ghosting. If if things are delayed and take longer time, I think the applicant has a more of a chance of not showing up or just losing interest or finding something else that would hire them on the spot. I wouldn't say it's gone down. It still exists.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Probably always will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, just in general, when you think about sort of like hiring, obviously the best way to not have to hire as much is to reduce turnover. Are there any things that you guys are doing to really make sure people stay at your Jimmy John's locations and incentivize them to hit milestones?
I would say like our biggest hiring tool and retention tool is just like our culture. I mean, I feel like, this is the reason why Nick and I are here in the first place. It's such a great environment to work in. The vibe is great. You get, a biweekly check, and the culture that we've built, I feel like people know who they're working for. We're in the stores every day, very hands-on owners. And I just feel like, we've built a team around us that, makes people want to stick around.
Yeah. I mean, we have like a fantastic team. Our general managers are incredible. And I think they're kind of the reason why, each store has kind of their own culture. Like we have our own company culture, that kind of sits on top, but each store has a different vibe to it. And I think that the general managers have the freedom to set the tone and to kind of, create the vibe that they want in the store. And you might go to one store in the morning and one store in the afternoon, and everyone's, having a good time, enjoying their job. But at the same time, there's, different kinds of vibes going on other places. And I think it's really fun and nice that we can have that.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Now, tell me a little bit more about the structure. I know you guys are sort of have like 40 minutes between your farthest locations, but then you have an office in Chicago that's 2 hours away. So how does sort of the management structure work with that?
Yeah. So the company that we came from, they have an office in the suburbs of Chicago, and our HR, payroll, all that stuff happens out of that office. And we know all those people, because we've worked with them all before. Most of them have worked in a Jimmy John's, probably even ran stores before. So it's awesome that they know so much about what we're doing day to day. But yeah, I mean, we're 40 minutes from store to store, but we're 2 hours from our office. So there is no office for us. The stores are our office, and anything that we need done happens either through the computer, through email, or we have to mail something. So that was one thing that I loved about Workstream as well, is these 20-some page packets when we hire someone don't exist anymore. I don't have to mail anything. Workstream just uploads all that stuff to our office, and our office has it like that, So again, some people can't start, or at least people couldn't start until paperwork is in the office's hands to make sure that all the documents are filled out correctly. Well, that's could be 5 minutes from now if we were hiring someone. So that's super.
So how many days did it used to be in terms of the delay between hiring and starting?
I mean, it really was just like a day or two, 2 hours, UPS mail. It's not terribly far, but it's just, you don't know. That's kind of the thing, is when you're waiting, you need someone staffed and you need someone to start, and you're waiting on the mail person. It's like, I got an idea. Why don't we just not do this? And we can just send stuff to them immediately and not have to worry about that at all. So I definitely like that better.
Yeah. And so are you guys then using all of the e-signatures and everything so people can just do it through their phones?
Yeah.
Has the mobile app been pretty easy to use and get, just to see everyone who's coming in?
Yeah, the mobile app's incredible. I think the mobile app has features that you can't get. It's more made for, just seeing your interviews for the day and applications on the spot, where obviously the desktop has a lot more detail and the platform is pretty detailed and awesome. But the one thing I use it for the most is when someone comes in or calls about a job, they're usually calling us from their cell phone. I can go on the app and find which store they want to work at or which position they're applying for, and copy that link and send it immediately to their phone, and they apply on the spot. So they don't have to come in and fill out a paper application. It's there. Their application could come through 5 minutes after that. So again, it's very nice for that.
That's awesome. So, it sounds like, as an owner of multiple Jimmy John's locations, a lot of what you guys are doing is the sort of the HR, the hiring. Are there any other aspects, with Jimmy John's that you were sort of surprised at all the things you have to take on, from snow removal to when things break? I'm curious, just sort of what are the other aspects that sort of come in as an owner of Jimmy John's that you need to take care of?
Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the maintenance man, you know, you're handling operations, you're helping with HR, payroll, stuff like that. But I mean, there's really, like, I feel like nothing that's off limits. We say we fight fires, we wear a lot of hats, and we pretty much just like try and solve all the problems we can. But it's I mean, it's endless.
If we can not pay someone to do it and we can do it ourselves, that would be ideal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is kind of weird how much of our day is consumed with not making sandwiches. But honestly, like 11 to 1 every single day, I get to sling sandwiches. It's the best 2 hours of the day for sure. Not having to put out fires.
Yeah, definitely. So another question that came in the chat from Megan says, you know, being in South Bend, have you guys embraced the Notre Dame culture and have events helped you guys establish your brand and let the community get to know you?
Yeah, we've been pretty in touch with the community. We worked with companies like Habitat for Humanity, which was really cool. They do some awesome stuff out in South Bend, but Notre Dame lifestyle is definitely something hard not to get into because like everyone here is down for that. But yeah, like the events on campus and stuff like that. We sponsor a race every year called Sunburst that we hand out $10,000 worth of samples. And that's been really cool. But
we also did one called Storm the Stadium, which is at Notre Dame Stadium, where I think there was like 2,500 people that did it last year. This year was canceled, but you go and you walk all the steps up and down Notre Dame Stadium, and we would hand out samples to everyone at the end as well.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, Notre Dame's a pretty easy culture to embrace. It's so fun, and everybody is so diehard that I don't think I was here for a week before I started buying Notre Dame stuff. And I was like, this is my life now. This is who I am.
That's awesome. And what has the vibe been on college campuses as people start to return? Do you think like people are going to stick around or switch to remote?
So Notre Dame, unfortunately, had to switch to remote classes for undergraduate students for 2 weeks. Today, they went back. And I honestly think, like, all media aside, the campus and the college are taking it like extremely serious. There's signs up everywhere. We're like off campus, but still close enough on campus to where we feel in touch with the university. And I mean, I feel like they're doing everything in their power to make this as safe as possible. Unfortunately, we have seen like a slight decline in sales because of that. There's just not as many people coming in. People are staying home. I wish they all ordered delivery, but they don't. But either way, it is. They're doing a lot for it. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. And you know, besides what's going on with Notre Dame, how have you seen sales for the past few weeks?
They've been, I mean, since pretty much like 4 weeks when COVID first hit, we like plummeted. And they've just been rising ever since. Our busiest time of the year is summer. And we're now hitting fall. So we're seeing a bit of a plateau, but our drive-through stores, especially our delivery percentage, especially, has just been increasing like exponentially.
Yeah. We actually had a record week. We had multiple record weeks. We continue to break our records on top of it. And it's funny because we're the most short staffed we've ever been. And our GMs are like, that's great. I'm glad we're so busy, but we're dying.
We need to hire more. Yeah. And do your GMs do the hiring as well, or is it all you guys?
No, they do most of it.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why I like this so much is beforehand, you're kind of forced to be a part of the hiring process where if you train them how to use Workstream, and it's pretty straightforward, they can do it all on their own, and it's pretty nice. Yeah. I can just sit and watch the email notifications come through and not have to do much about it.
That's awesome. So we had another question come in asking, is there anything you guys are doing to promote equality and create opportunities for advancement?
I mean, we have been hiring people in and pretty much telling them at the interview that like the sky is the limit here. We explain, you start out as an in-shop as a driver, but you can move into manager and training, which we call an MIT, up to a PIC, which is a person in charge, then a second assistant, first assistant, general manager, area manager. I think most people in the company know that there's lots of room to move up and that we are that story, like we came in and we got hired in as in-shops and drivers and worked our way as far up as we could possibly go. And, that's weird because it's like, it only took like 10 years to do that. For us, I don't know if that's normal or not, but other people could 100% do the same stuff that we're doing. So I think, I don't know.
That's amazing. Yeah, and unless we have any additional questions, I'm just going to give people a chance. I guess we have another question. What were 3 things that you learned from your business partner in Chicago? And, how do you use those lessons to help motivate and retain your staff today?
3 things would be, there's like 1,000 things.
Yeah, I was going to say that would be so hard. Well, first off, I still learn from, his name's Jeff, like pretty much daily. I like to rely on him a lot. Sometimes I call him and he's like, you know what to do, or you got this, and I'm like, can you just tell me what to do? That'd be sweet if we could just do it that way. But he has always shown like a lot of trust in me specifically, which in turn, all those things I felt when I was, trying to learn and move up the ladder and all the mistakes I made, he was there like totally to support me through all of it. And he literally is in stores when I've run out of bread before and he's like, we can get through this. It's going to be okay. Yeah. Yada, yada, yada. At like my lowest points. And now being on the other end of it, I see some of our people land in the same situations and, you just got to be there for them, support them and trust them. And, people learn from their mistakes. And I think that's something that everyone's got to do.
I feel like the biggest thing that I took away from him was just like the whole aspect of like building a culture. You attract the people that you attract based on like the way you run a company. And we've been super fortunate to learn a lot from him. But being there when we were 17 as in-shops and drivers and being where we're at now, like Nick said, the trust that you get from him is just like insurmountable. And, the month-to-month meetings that we would go to when we were GMs, like everyone is treated the same and everyone can talk to Jeff. And, he puts so much trust and changes so many people's lives. It's hard not to be like such a fan of him and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're lucky.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then one final question we had come in. How do you guys stay up to date on what's going on in your industry? Are there magazines, newsletters, podcasts, forums that you try to follow?
Yeah, definitely. Surfing the web for sure. Checking out what the competition is doing. Jimmy John's and specifically Inspire do a good job of sending out updates, what we should know, what we should be up to date on and stuff like that. And as long as we're, doing our due diligence, it's all there for us. It's really good content.
Yeah. I'm more concerned about like what's going on locally more than I am about what's going on everywhere else. But I kind of try to keep tabs, just the South Bend Tribune. They're always posting articles about other restaurants in the area and just things that are going on locally. And I feel like, I like to have an idea of everything that's going on, but I don't want to get too outside of myself and just try to focus on local so we can handle this. But yeah, Jimmy John's does send out newsletters and emails and they keep us in the loop with what they're up to and any changes that are going to happen. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much. I know you're incredibly busy right now with hitting record weeks and all the people you need to hire. So thank you guys for coming on. It was great chatting with you and good luck as you go into the fall. Keep those sales up.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Lydia.
Thanks. Great chatting with you. Bye.
Bye.